All right, today we're going to continue with percentages. And we've talked a little bit about finding a percentage of a number and changing percents into decimals, into fractions, taking fractions and decimals, turning them into percentages and things like this. Now what we're going to do is we're kind of switch it up a little bit. We're going to give you a number and say, hey, this number is 60% of another number. What is it? You're probably thinking to yourself, I don't know how to do that. It's going to be hard. I don't want to do it. I'm going to turn this off right now and run away. Okay? So those of you that either are too frozen with fear to turn off and run away, or those of you that are like, oh, okay, I'm curious. I'm glad you're still with me. All right? We're going to go over that. It's really simple, and it will actually help you a little bit if you get used to it when we get to algebra and things called variables and stuff like that. So it's going to help you out a little bit if you get used to it, because basically this is algebra and what I'm going to show you. But don't freak out at that word. People hear that word and they think, oh my gosh, really hard. No, it's going to be simple. Okay, so I've got an example on the board behind me, and I'm going to walk you through it, and then I'm going to show you actually two ways that you can do it. One of them is going to help you with algebra, so that's probably the one that's the most important and will help you out with math. The other one is going to be kind of a shortcut that you might be able to use in the everyday world if you're going shopping and things like that to try to figure out how much you're saving and stuff like that. So, but you need to know both of them. Okay? All right, so let's start with this example and get going. All right. Up here on the board I have 54 is 60% of what number? And before it had been, okay, what is 60% of 75 or something like that? Okay, the answer to this is not 75. I just pulled that number out of the air, so don't think, oh, he gave us the answer. No, okay. But this is a little different because now what they're doing is they're saying, okay, this number here, it's 60% of something. Now find out what that something is, what that number is. Where before it was, here's the number, find this percentage of the number, and that would be your answer. Now we're working backwards, okay? But just like we're working backwards, the way you do it is kind of the opposite as well. You'll understand what I mean when I get to the end, okay? So let me show you the first way, the algebraic way, okay? That will help you out a little bit when we get to algebra. That way you're familiar with it, and algebra won't be so hard when we do it with variables and things like that closer to the end of the year. So we know that percentages are based off of 100. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this percentage, I'm going to make it into a fraction. Now remember, since it's 60% based on 100, I drop that percentage sign, put 60 over 100. Okay? Now, 54 is 60% of some number. So this 54 will go on the top of a fraction as well. But here's the thing. 54 out of what? We don't know. That's what we're asking. So we don't know what this is, so this is just a big question mark. Okay? So we don't really know what that is, and that's what we're trying to find out. And let me show you. So we know that 54 equals 60%. Whatever this is would be all of that. Okay, would equal to 100%. So what we do is we look at this and we think, okay, this, to make our life easier, we need to simplify. So let's take it down here and simplify it. And we know that this can be simplified quite a bit. So we want to get it as small as possible. And we know that it can be 6 over 10, okay? But still needs to be simplified more, and basically 3/5. Okay, and we're going to work with that. So I'm going to, since I know that this is 3/5, I'm going to erase our work we did here. I'm going to bring this 54 over whatever. Okay? All right. And actually, you know what? I'm going to rewrite it a different way to make more sense. So I'm going to put 3/5 equals 54 question mark. Okay. So now what we need to do, we need to look at this as if we're looking at equivalent fractions, which we dealt with earlier in the year. Is there something that we could do to get 3 turned into 54? Okay? So we need to figure out, okay, can 3 go into 54 evenly? So let's figure it out. 3 can go into 5 one time. 2 left over, bring my 4 down. 3 times 8 is going to give me 24. Okay? All right. So now we know that 3 times 18 is going to give me 54. Okay? Good with me so far? All right. Now, this is what we do. Is remember, whatever we do to the top number, we have to do to the bottom number. So since I multiplied this times 18, I have to multiply the bottom by 18. 18 times 5 is going to give me what I'm looking for. So 5 times 18 is 90. So now I've completed my fraction. So now I can replace this with 90. And now we know that 54 is 60% of 90. Okay, and we can check that if we really wanted to. We could take 90 and multiply it times what this is a decimal. Remember, 60% moving as a decimal, move it over 2 places, times 6/10, 0. Move my decimal. Look at that, 54, 54. Pretty easy, right? Okay. And that's how you basically find the percentage. What a number is some percentage of another number. Okay? Very easy. Now let me show you the other way. Okay? Now this is a shortcut, but this will not help you with algebra. Okay? I want to stick with the first one because that's going to help you with algebra. So, but I'm going to give you this other way because, like I've said before, everybody's brains work differently. That way may confuse somebody. The second way I show you may work out better for you in the real world, whatever. It's better to know multiple ways how to do a math problem. Okay? It's like having tools in a toolkit. All right? A hammer will break something, but sometimes you don't want to use a hammer. You want to use some other tool that's maybe a little bit more accurate, a little bit more fine, things like that. Kind of the same thing. All right, let me show you this other one. Not as many steps involved. It's okay. So I'm going to look at this percentage again. Okay? And also this number. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this percentage to a decimal. So I'm going to move it over 2 places. Pow, pow. And that makes it, as a decimal, 6/10. Okay? Then I'm going to take the number that I started with, the number I'm trying to find, which I know is 60% of some other number. And I'm going to put it inside a division problem. Okay? All right? And then I'm going to drop an eraser. Okay, that step's not part of it, but whatever. Now, when I'm dividing with decimals, and the decimal is outside, on the outside of the division problem, I have to make this a whole number. So what I do is I take the decimal, move it over 1 place, and then I also move the decimal on this side 1 place. Well, since there's no decimal, it's hiding at the end. I move it over 1 place, add my 0, and go from there. Okay, I'll make sure I got to bring up my decimal as well. Okay, 6 times 5 doesn't go in there. How many times does 6 go into 54? 9 times. Okay, minus 54. Okay. Excuse me, minus 54, not 50, because it goes in evenly. I've got 0, but I've still got this decimal back here, so I got to add my other 0. Look at that. Okay, because I have to bring my 0 down. 6 will go into 0 0 times. I got the same one. Remember, 90 was our answer for the other one. Pretty simple, huh? Let's do one more example using both, and then we'll be done. Okay, so let's say, let's go with 24 is 20% of what number? Okay, so let's do the algebraic way first, the first way I showed you. And I know that 24 is 20% of something. I don't know what that number is, okay? All right, and then I know that since percentages are based on 100, I'm going to put my 20 over 100. And these are Now I want to simplify this, and I know that I can make this 1/5. Bring down my stuff here, rewrite it, makes it a little easier so I can see it. And I need to see, okay, what do I do to this to make that 24? Well, of course, times 24. Multiply this times 24. Okay, so 5 times 24, let's work that out. 120. Okay, so that tells me that 120, that 20% of 120 is 24, but I want to check it just to make sure. So I'm going to have to look at 120, multiply it times whatever this says as a decimal. Remember, move our decimal places over 2, so it would be 2/10. 0, 4, 2. Move my decimal over one place, which gives me 24, which is what I started with. Okay? Got it? Now let's do it the other way. All right. I take my percentage, make it into a decimal. Okay? Which is 2/10, because remember, move it over 2 places. And then I take the number I start with, my 24, put it on the inside of the division, and I'm basically saying 24 divided by 2/10. Now remember, when we're dividing with a decimal on the outside of the division problem, we've got to move our decimal over. Move it over one place. Our decimal that's hiding over here, we move that over one place, add a 0, bring it up. Okay? Now we do our division. 2 times 2 will go into 2 one time, minus 2, 0. Bring down my 4. 2 will go into 4 2 times. 4, 0. Bring down my 0. 2 will go into 0 0 times. 0. And I'm good. See? Got the same thing. All right? Very, very simple. And it will help you out with algebra, help you out in the real world, things like that. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Watch this video as many times as you need to. If you have any questions, just leave a message down in the comments below, and I will try to help you out with that. All right. See you soon.